Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now, aka the Dr. Glidden Show. Check out the live video stream, the drgliddenshow.tv, where currently there are 46 people watching on YouTube and 61 people in the chat room. Want to get into the chat room? Guess what? It's free. Go to the drgliddenshow.tv, check out the details, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Well, my head, not really my head, my intellect and my heart and my body-mind are heavy today because of this amyotrophic lateral sclerosis ice bucket nonsense which is sweeping the country. $40 million have been raised just in the last month because of this ice bucket craze, where millions of unsuspecting, uneducated, closed-minded, but good-natured, compassionate and caring human beings have been duped again by the collective unconsciousness and abject lemming-like stupidity of the American public to donate money to come up with a cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis to the MDs. This really drives home the sobering state of affairs that we have here in North America, quite frankly, all around the world. You know, when you are involved with Longevity Nation, as you are, and when people of like minds come together underneath the holistic tent, we have a tendency to forget the way that other people in the world think. We have a tendency to forget momentarily that we are, in fact, in the abject, utter minority of people in the world. There are only a very small percentage of people who think the way that we think, and the way that we think is the correct way to think. It's the rational way to think. It's the sophisticatedly intellectual integrity way to think. MD-directed medical treatments for chronic diseases do not work. Your MD is not trained to understand the pathogenesis of disease. Your MD is not trained how to cure disease, and so why on earth would you raise money and give it to the profession that absolutely positively cannot possibly ever in their wildest dreams come up with the solution to your problem? It's mind-boggling to me that this happens, and yet it really strikes home, and it strikes to the heart of the issue here when I see so much nonsense happening in such an exuberant manner all across the United States. People are jumping on this train because, you know, people are compassionate and people are honest and people want to do the right thing, but people don't know what the right thing is. And because we don't have a free medical market, because the medical market has been monopolized here by the American Medical Association in the United States, by Health Canada in Canada, and I don't know what the organization is in the European Union, because the pharmaceutical interests hold sway over everybody else in the field of medicine, because the MDs are in the catbird seat, in the driver's seat of medicine. The average person on the street is of the incorrect assumption and the incorrect opinion that the MD is the only go-to person, is the go-to person for all things medical. And they completely overlook the notion, the fact, quite frankly, it's not a notion, they completely overlook the facts that MDs don't practice medicine. MDs practice allopathic medicine. I don't practice medicine. I practice naturopathic medicine. I practice homeopathic medicine. MDs don't practice medicine. MDs practice allopathic medicine. And allopathic medicine, which has been in the majority here, in the bus driver's seat for the last 100 years, while we have given complete and utter control of the medical arena to the MDs practicing allopathic, pharmaceutical centrist, reductionistically oriented medical treatments, while we've given those guys carte blanche, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis increases, multiple sclerosis increases, heart disease increases, obesity increases, Alzheimer's increases, autism increases, high blood pressure increases, type 2 diabetes increases, life expectancy decreases, bankruptcies increase due to medical bills. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. The MDs do not even know how to cure heartburn, and well-intended but really clueless Americans have just given them $40 million out of their own pockets to come up with a cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Now, do you think they're going to be able to do that? No. And you mark my words, you watch what happens. This hullabaloo is going to die down. And, you know, 6 months from now, everybody's going to forget about it. And then a year from now, that $40 million that was raised is going to produce 0 results. And then when we see that there haven't been any results produced, we'll blame it on bureaucracy. We'll blame it on the Obama administration. We'll blame it on the current administration, whoever that is. We'll blame it on somebody else, but we will overlook the simple fact of the matter that we took the wrong dog to the hunt. You know, it's like we're going duck hunting with a Chihuahua. Well, guess what? I can guarantee that if you go duck hunting with a Chihuahua, you're going to come back empty-handed. I do not care how good a shot you are, unless you like swimming in ice-cold, frigid water. Well, I guess people don't mind dumping ice-cold, frigid water over their heads if it's for a good cause. Well, coming up with a cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is an excellent cause, but there is no way on God's green earth that the MDs will be able to accomplish this, because the MDs bring to the table a philosophy of medicine and understanding of the pathogenesis of disease, which is juvenile, old-fashioned, outdated, and completely unrealistic. These are the same people that killed George Washington, the first president of the United States, by bleeding him to death, because that was the standard of care. It's that type of, you know, old-fashioned, outdated intractability, hubris of legendary proportions, which drives the MDs forward. And quite frankly, do you know of any other profession that can fail and 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 still be number one? The only people that can do that are people that are in the monopoly, right? If you're the king, you can do whatever you want, and it doesn't matter because you're the king and you make the rules. Well, this amyotrophic lateral sclerosis nonsense, which is sweeping the country, really brings home to me the sobering fact that most people in the United States just don't get it. They don't get it. You know, they're still in the matrix. They're still down the rabbit hole. They're still laboring under the cultural myth, the misconception that the MDs know what's best for them. They have no idea that we don't have a free medical market. They have no idea about the distinctions between reductionism and holism. They have no idea about the distinctions between allopathic medicine and naturopathic medicine and medical nutrition and everything else. They have no idea of these distinctions. They think that the MD knows what's best for them. They do. They think that. Most people do. And it's just a wake-up call, I think, to me. I don't know what you're going to make of it, but it's a wake-up call to me to look to see how great the cultural myth, how still deeply embedded in people's minds the cultural myth of the superiority of the MD method is. It's big, it's bad, and it's a voodoo daddy. It's big and bad, and it's a big bad voodoo daddy, ladies and gentlemen. For goodness sake, we've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. We're the only people saying it. And look, again, people's good intentions have been played. People's good intentions have been taken advantage of by, you know, the pharmaceutical industry, by the American Medical Association, by 100 years of medical profiteering propaganda, positioning the MDs as the abject gods of medicine. MD does not stand for medical deity. However, most people incorrectly assume that it does. I mean, you know, case in point, Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is a cardiac surgeon, and yet he has a television show where he talks about everything. And people believe him like, you know, it's the word from the mount. Dr. Oz doesn't have a secret decoder ring to all things medical just because he has an MD after his name, nor does Andy Weil. They don't. They're MDs. And in a perfect world, we would go to them only for information about what they're trained in, how to suppress symptoms with drugs. Remember, we're not against drugs. Thank God for Novocaine, right? Thank God for penicillin. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not. But the way that the MDs use these treatments, they're the leading cause of death in the United States, the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, and the cause of all human suffering relative to ill health. Because while we've let the MDs drive the bus of medicine, we're getting worse. We're getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse instead of better and better. And we've been tricked again by the MDs into believing that it's our fault. It can't be the MD's perspective. It can't be the MD's old-fashioned, outdated philosophy of healing. Can't be that, because the MD is the all-powerful intellectual god of medicine. It can't be their incompetence. It's got to be your fault. You've got the amyotrophic lateral sclerosis gene. You've got the fat gene. You were born with a stomach that's too big. You have the blood sugar gene. That's what you have. Baloney. You don't have a bad gene, ladies and gentlemen. You have a bad doctor. Stop giving money to the wrong people. MDs are incapable of coming up with a cure for any chronic disease, including amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And if you're in Longevity Nation and you've had a direct personal experience with health improvement underneath the diagnosis of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, call me up. I want to hear from you today. If you know somebody who's had that experience, call them right now. Have them call the show. I'll put them right to the top of the line today. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Stick around. Like the fella said, you can't fix stupid, but you know, there are lots of things that you can do in order to wake people up, and this is what we're all about in Longevity Nation. This is what we're all about in Longevity Nation. Now, you know, today's Metaphysical Thursday, and on Metaphysical Thursdays I like to fly afield here from the usual norm and talk about things having to do with metaphysics as they relate to the health of the human body. So this ALS thing kind of threw me off track, but I'd like to get back on that track a little bit here. We talk about homeopathy a lot because it's a medicine that's dear to my heart, completely, absolutely misunderstood by people in the mainstream. They have no idea about what homeopathy is whatsoever. Now, homeopathic medicine is extremely unique. As a matter of fact, it was the founder of homeopathy, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who coined the term allopathic medicine. It was Hahnemann that coined the term allopathic medicine to describe what the MDs of his time were up to, and they haven't changed. The Republican is always a Republican, a Democrat is always a Democrat, a tiger never changes its stripes, a communist is always a communist, right? So allopathic medicine is the same now as it was then. Homeopathy is the same now as it was then. Naturopathy, chiropractic, etc., etc. So homeopathic medicine, very unique, and it stands in direct polar opposition. It is the opposite, intellectually and clinically, of allopathic medicine. Homeopathy argues that rather than combating an illness with an oppositionally defiant symptom suppressive medication that the MDs roll out, it would be better to support your body's ability to overcome the illness itself. And this is how homeopathic medicine was developed. Now, if you are attempting to help somebody with homeopathy, here's what you do. You take a substance which you are going to prepare as a homeopathic medicinal agent. It can be anything. And you prepare it homeopathically, and then you give that homeopathically prepared substance to 100 people. You give it to the many different types of people, women, children, men, the healthy, the sick, the infirm. You give it to a broad spectrum of humanity, and you have and in different dosages and in different time schedules. And then you have the people whom you administer the medicine to write down what symptoms the medicine generates in their body. And then you can also catalog symptoms that you experience clinically with people who have benefited from the medicine. And you come up with a symptom catalog for each individual homeopathic medicine. Now, when you see somebody who's sick, you look through your symptom catalog and you try to match the symptoms of their organic illness with the symptoms produced by the homeopathic medicine. Now, this is the sticking point of homeopathy. This is how homeopathy got its name. Because if you presented to a homeopathic physician with a headache which felt like your head was being squeezed between a vice, you would be given a medicine which, when given to a healthy person, produced exactly the same symptom. Which, by the way, is different from a headache that makes you feel like your head's going to explode, or a headache that makes you feel like somebody's nailing an ice pick into your temple above your right eye, right? Many different ways that headaches can manifest, many different ways that any ache or pain or any acute or chronic symptom in the physical body can manifest. Homeopathic physicians pay acute attention to the details of the symptoms in the derivation, cataloging, and delivery of the homeopathic medicine. And this is where it gets really, really, really interesting. When you take a substance and prepare it homeopathically, you prepare it through a series of dilutions and serial dilutions and succussions. You dilute the medicine to an extreme amount. You dilute the medicine so much that the possibility of even one molecule of the original substance existing in the medicine are infinite, which means you've diluted it so much that there is no more of the material essence left. It's no more. Like, for instance, if you mixed grape juice and water, and then added more 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 water. After a while, there wouldn't be any grape juice left in the solution, right? It would be completely diluted out. Well, homeopathic substances are completely diluted, and yet they produce physiological change. Now, the mechanism behind this is unknown. And the person who discovers the mechanism, which informs a homeopathic treatment, will probably be overlooked by conventional medicine, but should be awarded the Nobel Prize. What I'm going to talk about in the next segment, before I get to the phones, is what happens when you take the element gold, and prepare it into a homeopathic medicine. Prepare for your mind to be blown. I am Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Metaphysical Thursday. Welcome aboard. Welcome, chat room. Thanks for finding your way here. Let's just jump right into the deep end and start answering questions. La Flèche. Bonjour, La Flèche. It's Christmas in August. La Flèche got his first shipment. You gotta love it. You're gonna love how you feel. Petra from Germany's here. Silverback is in the house. Mike Phillip, Graciela, Triplet Mom, Christine, Dave from the Thumb. Bob in Amarillo says, Doc, what do I recommend for water drinking? What water filter do I use? Well, the one that I use on my house, I'm on well water and septic. The one that I use is called Pelican. The Pelican brand of water filters. Pelican brand of water filters. Check it out. I did a lot of research. I like it the best. The Pelican brand is really, really, really good. I don't sell it. Alex Jones doesn't sell it. It's just a standalone retail product. I prefer it. So you do a lot of distilled water, right? Well, I would recommend you stop doing distilled water. And honestly, nobody knows how much of the minerals to put in. 1 quart to 5 gallons sounded good to me. It's much better, Bob, to drink purified water, not distilled water, and do your 90 essential nutrients, including extra plant minerals. Now, Doctors Data in Illinois, Doctors Data, go to doctorsdata.com, I think, doctorsdata.com. and order their water quality test kit. It's $100. They'll send you a container to put the water in. You write them a check, I think, for $99. Send it back to the lab. They do an extremely comprehensive analysis on your water quality. It's the best one I've seen. Doctors' data in Illinois to test your water. Okay? Okay. Hold on here. Loretta, what do we do in a 130-pound male? So one Dr. Glidden pack would be sufficient to the cause there. One Dr. Glidden pack, and somebody can type in what that is. That's not an actual pack in longevity. It's shorthand that I use to describe a real good comprehensive medical nutrition foundation program. One Dr. Glidden pack plus elimination of the 10 bad foods would be a good place for them to start. Suzanne in Paradise, Texas, what do we do if the hair analysis shows aluminum toxicity? They're probably a vegetarian. Aluminum toxicity is almost impossible to occur in the human body, but my recommendation there would be eliminate the 10 bad foods, get on board with the appropriate healthy pack for 6 months, and then test the hair again. I bet you'll see that the aluminum levels normalize. Triplet Mom Christine, if someone who weighs 106 wants to add sweeties to their regimen, would 2 in between each meal be okay? No idea. Give it a try, see how they feel. The only way that you can really judge the effectiveness of sweeties is if you already have a blood sugar issue and you can measure your blood sugars with a little stick. Otherwise, you just have to go on how it makes you feel, right? So there's no harm and no foul in starting somewhere and dosing up or dosing down. Remember, the 2 of the biggest symptoms of a blood sugar issue are falling asleep after you eat a meal and or waking up in the middle of the night and you're wide awake. Only after a couple hours of sleep you're wide awake. Either of those 2 things are present, you probably have a blood sugar metabolism issue. And the best way to check that is with a blood test called hemoglobin A1C. Hemoglobin A1C. Silverback, yesterday, Doc, I was mentioning that your woman, and I suggested for her to take 29, 365, 3 HSP, 4 selenium, 6 healthy glucose. Dawn said she had watched my weight loss webinar. She wanted me to ask what those 3 supplements would suggest, if any, to promote the most proficient weight loss strategy. Well, if weight loss specifically is the goal here, then 3 of the Healthy Start packs, 4 selenium, 2 bottles of Prohoba Slim, and 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals a month would be a good place to start. 1,200 calories a day, eliminate the 10
Yeah, man, I want to get away too. Sometimes I just want to get away from the abject stupidity which exists here culturally. So many people are just still embedded in the matrix. They have no idea whatsoever that the MD is, quite frankly, the wrong dog for the hunt. So we're talking about homeopathy. We're talking about the preparation of gold. Now, if you dig gold up out of the ground, you pulverize it, you grind it into a powder, and you inject it into the joint, nothing happens. It's inert. It produces 0 reactions, up or down, inside the human body. That's why they like to use it for fillings in teeth, because it doesn't do anything. It's inert. It produces no positive nor negative metabolic reactions. 0. However, if you take gold, serially dilute it into a homeopathic preparation and give it to people, oh my God. Here are the symptoms which are created and therefore treated by the homeopathic preparation of gold. If you run through the mental symptoms of gold, taking them all in as one great whole, you will see that all the affections natural to healthy people are perverted. So great in extent is this that one of the fundamental loves, which is the love of living, of self-protection, is perverted.
And the sufferer loathes life, is weary of life, longs to die, and seeks methods to commit suicide. No love of life. The affections preeminently are deranged. The intellectual severe is only secondarily changed. Of course, insanity runs through the remedy, but it is an insanity that begins in the will and proceeds then to the intellect. It is first observed as a perversion of the affections. It is astonishing that one could get into such a state of mind, such horrible depression of spirits, that there is an absolute loss of enjoyment in everything. You take away a person's hope and he has nothing to live for. He then wants to die. Such, it seems, is the state in this medicine. Self-condemnation, continual self-reproach, self-criticism, a constant looking into the self. They do nothing right. Everything is wrong. Nothing will succeed. Hopelessness. Imagines he cannot succeed in anything and he does everything wrong. He is in disunion with himself. Imagines he sees obstacles in his way everywhere. He is all the time imagining that he has neglected something, that he has neglected his friends. He imagines that he deserves reproach in consequence of having neglected his duty. He has neglected something. He is wrong, is wholly evil, has sinned away his day of grace, is not worthy of salvation. This is the train of thought that constantly runs through his mind. The thought really becomes uncontrollable. He is absorbed in himself and sits and broods over it. And by brooding over it, he only intensifies the state and hatches new grievances, continuous to worry over himself. Thinks he is wholly unfit for the world, and then he longs to die. Unbelievable. This state of mind is the state of mind which responds beautifully to the administration of homeopathic gold. Now imagine that. I could wax philosophical about the relationship between gold and depression, right? I could go there and talk at length about it. But it's interesting to me, extremely interesting to me, that gold in its natural state is inert in the human body. However, when gold is prepared into a homeopathic preparation, it alters the very foundation of the vital force in such a way that people get profoundly suicidally depressed. So therefore, the treatment for suicidal ideation, suicidal depression, self-condemnation, self-loathing, homeopathically prepared gold. Now, when was the last time anybody went to a medical doctor who was depressed like that and got homeopathically prepared gold? Never! Now remember, homeopathic medicines, like most holistic therapeutics, are holistic, and they not only affect the mental sphere, but they affect the emotional sphere, the physical sphere as well. Homeopathic gold has a number of physical symptoms. I'm going to read you a couple of them, very interesting. Water accumulation of the abdomen, inguinal hernia. All of the glands of the body are involved, more or less. All sorts of disturbances of the sexual organs. The testes become indurated. Frequent nightly emissions. Complains as the result of vices. Hydrocele. Ulcers on the scrotum. Burning and stinging in the perineum. Uterus prolapsed and indurated. Leukorrhea, thick white. Complaints in the uterus and region of the pelvis from straining and reaching up the arms, abortion from reaching up at the windows and fixing a curtain. Homeopathic gold is a medicine that is suitable for induration of the uterus and ulceration of the uterus as a result of repeated abortions. The symptoms of asthma and of difficult breathing you would naturally expect to be associated with the heart. Notice this also, that the difficult breathing is of two kinds in this remedy. Such breathing as involves the lung and such breathing as involves the heart. So it is we have an asthmatic condition that is cardiac in character, and dyspnea, shortness of breath, belongs to such remedies as have a preponderance of actions on the affections of the heart. Very, very, very interesting. So this really speaks to a metaphysical phenomenon, right? Because when you take any medicine, any substance, and serially diluted in a homeopathic method in the preparation of a homeopathic substance, and then you have a homeopathic medicine, the properties of the medicine change. It's kind of like starting with grapes and ending up with alcohol. Well, alcohol produces a very different effect on your body than grapes do, but that's what it came from. Well, homeopathic medicines, regardless of their origin, change the properties of the original substance. But the mechanism through which this change happens is unknown. The mechanism through which such a dilute medicine can continue to produce strong and persistent symptoms on a living biological system is unknown. And you know, when the MDs, being reductionists, don't know things, they dismiss it as, you know, it's dismissed. You know, over 90% of the chromosomal material in your body, the medical doctors have no idea what causes it, so they refer to that as junk DNA. They don't know what it does, so therefore it doesn't do anything because they know everything, right? This is the mindset that they bring to bear on everything. It's the same with your brain. They have no idea what 90% of your brain does, so therefore 90% of your brain is irrelevant to the MD. This is how they think. It's like gravity. Nobody's figured out the mechanism of gravity. Nobody knows what causes gravity. Not even Einstein knew that. And yet, do we run around saying gravity doesn't exist? Gravity is, you know, quack medicine, that gravity is nonsense? No, we don't. Because we can see gravity's effects all the time. Well, you can see and measure the effects of homeopathic medicines all the time. But because the mechanism here is unknown, and because it kind of flies in the face of conventional wisdom, right? It's dismissed out of hand by old-fashioned, narrow-minded, intellectually cowardly medical professionals who are only interested in maintaining the status quo of a closed mind rather than investing real objective research into the nature and genesis of chronic disease to aid afflicted humanity. Your medical doctor does not have your best interests at heart. I'm not saying that they're sadistic. What I'm saying is their training is completely inconsistent with the reality of the human experience. The MD has no notion of any spiritual type of existence in the human body whatsoever, which is one of life's greatest ironies. Because many MDs are, in fact, you know, very religious people in their private life. They're, you know, God-fearing Christians, or they're devout Hindus, or they're practicing Buddhists, or they're Muslims, or they're Jews, right? Or whatever. Mormons. Which is kind of like being a Democrat at work but being a communist at home, or vice versa. How can you do both? Because if you are a religious person and you believe that there is a God, you believe that your body is inhabited by a spiritual soul force, then you must ask the question, what is the relationship between the spiritual reality of my life and my physical body? What's the relationship? What's going on there? But they don't ask that question, and when they're at work, they're taught that there's no such thing as the soul because nobody's ever dissected the soul out of a corpse. Nobody's ever seen the soul. Nobody's ever seen the spirit. Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever measured it. Nobody's ever taken a picture of it with an X-ray, an MRI, an ultrasound, or a CT scan. And if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. This is the perspective that the MD brings to bear on everything. And this is why perhaps the best way to understand them, the best frame to frame them inside of, is as if they were colorblind artists. Now, you know, if you win the lottery and you've got a couple of extra $1,000 and you hire an artist to do a family portrait, you know, costs, I don't know, what's that cost? I don't know. Let's just make a number up. $10,000. It's going to cost $10,000 to have an artist come to your home and do a painting of you and your family sitting around the fire, right, for posterity. But the artist is colorblind, and the artist doesn't know that they're colorblind. Well, you're going to be able to tell in the painting that that's you, and that's your husband, and that's your wife, and that's your kids, and that's your dog, and, you know, there's the wreath over the fireplace. You're going to be able to tell, but the rest of it's just not going to be right. It's all going to be wrong because the colors are going to be wrong because the artist was colorblind. Part of it's going to be right, but they're going to miss it completely, but they're not going to know that they're missing it, and this is why your MD must be avoided 100%. And this is why it is a fool's errand to bring your body to the office of an MD if you're suffering with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's disease, asthma, any type of chronic condition whatsoever, because their therapeutics do not take into consideration the real causative nature of the illness, and their therapeutics are not intended to heal. They're not intended to heal. They're not intended to cure the problem. The intention is to manage the symptoms so that you need more drugs and then surgery and then another surgery and then you die. And then unsuspecting, good-hearted, good-natured, compassionate, caring human beings get swept up in the medical myth, and they go out of their ways to raise money to buy more paint for the colorblind art critic, the colorblind painter. We're in a world of hurt here, ladies and gentlemen, and I am not kidding. It is a worldwide phenomenon of hurt, pain, and suffering. You don't believe me? Well, the next time you're at a family dinner, a family gathering, just ask your brothers and sisters and cousins and nieces and nephews how they're doing. Ask them how many medications they're on. Ask them if they have incontinence. Are they sleeping through the night? How's their energy? How are their aches and pains? When you start to ask questions, you will be horrified by how much pain and suffering is in the world brought to you by the MDs. Hey, Helen's here from Australia. Gotta love it. Petra from Germany. Silverback, I believe Silverback D is on one of the moons of Jupiter, I think. Megumi, domo, arigato, Megumi. Hi. Bob and Amarillo, Nancy G. Albert says, hey, Doc, I'm afraid a lot of others are in my situation. I have no tonsils or adenoids. Well, you can't go back in time unless you're a Time Lord. I'm concerned about my lymph health as they're overworked even when younger, and to be careful pneumonia and bronchitis. That seems to be past, but still curious about compensating for not having tonsils and adenoids. It's a point well taken. You need to do the lymphatic breathing technique. You need to do the lymphatic breathing technique for 10 minutes twice a day. The lymphatic breathing technique, 10 minutes twice a day. And make sure that your blood sugars are good. So if you don't know if your blood sugars are good or not, order the hemoglobin A1C test. If your results are inside the reference range, then you're pretty much okay. If you're towards the high end of it, if you're like a point or two away from the high end of normal, or you're over the high end of normal, then you're pre-type 2 diabetic, and that's going to compromise your immune system extremely. And you need to get on board with the sweeties in addition to the rest of the 90 essential nutrients. So the lymphatic breathing is a really good thing for you to learn how to do. And the next time something starts going around your community, you know, like the cold or the flu or whatever, then you can use the PureWorks foaming cleanser on your hands as a preventive, and on your face also. And you can do 2 killer biotic twice a day, 2 killer biotic twice a day, preventively, to help boost your immune system. Marco gave a sample of tangy tangerine to a lady. She's 125, 60 years old, reported lots of energy. She couldn't sleep. Well, you know, if you drank a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock at night, it's probably going to make you not sleep. Now, there's no caffeine in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, but the nutritional stimulation that you get from it is stimulatory. So often the best thing to tell people when they're starting is to not take a dose after sunset. Quite frankly, after 6 p.m. Have them not take any of it after 6 p.m. Have them take it in, breakfast, lunch, and then in the afternoon before dinner. That's a good strategy. Okay. Hypertension or intracranial hypertension. So you would give extra EFAs and the Ultimate Daily Capsules. Extra EFAs and the Ultimate Daily Capsules.
Ay, Chihuahua. Ay, ay, ay. My people there destroyed by lack of nutrition. True. Esperidad, no? Sí, Esperidad. Let's go to Orlando and talk to Gabriel. Hey, Gabriel. Any relation to the angel?
Yes.
All right. I better watch my P's and Q's then. Thanks for the call, man. You are live.
Well, thank you for accepting me. Can you hear me clear enough?
You're coming in loud and clear, brother.
Good. I experienced you the first time here on the show, August 4th. I was a guest of Darren Moai.
Oh yeah, he's doing.
I'm going to give you the short version of it. Time won't permit me to tell you everything, but I hope one day that I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with you and Dr. Wallach, because since August 4th, my life has already changed. I saw your one of your videos on a health tube, which I answered that. That's how I got hooked up with Darren. I was a member of Beyond Organics, had no idea the merger had happened, so I didn't even know I was already a distributor. Darren has taken care of me with kid gloves.
Yep.
What you didn't know is that I was a pastor for over 25 years, and because of the obesity, because of all of the issues I had to resign early. It mortified me. Everything you just talked about, I experienced. I felt like a failure. I was a pretty good preacher, pretty good speaker, but yet I felt like a failure because I thought I couldn't control my appetite. Man, did the video help me with Dr. Wallach about the horse biting on the wood. But anyway, I don't have
know, right?
So I saw your video right at the end of July. Before I even talked to Darren, I made up my mind. I'm going to eliminate the bad foods. I immediately told my wife, don't buy me no more of this, extra. Well, I don't want to. I said, I'm not asking anybody. I know what I have. When Darren contacted me, bless his heart, he's been so overwhelming, just so helpful. He brought me to the show on that 4th. I told you I was 425. I was really 454. So I'm a big guy. The 2 degenerative diseases in my disc. I was born with brachial plexus in my left arm, so I've always had to use my right arm all my life. I could not move my forefinger on my right hand. I had a frozen shoulder that literally kept me up at night. I had swollen legs. Edema was out of control. My ankles, my feet, my legs looked like the legs of a real elephant. I was in constant pain, going to the bathroom all night, constantly, over the years, getting prostatitis. The doctor could only tell me, well, you just get that, I love you. I really do, Doc. I love your straightforwardness. I like how direct you are. And you just, you called my doctor out completely. Well, let me get to the testimony. I'm sorry, because I can
I get a witness? Give me a witness.
Well, on August 4th, after I talked to you, I told you I had a budget of about $250. I scrubbed up the money, got a can, I call it Tanya Tang. I ordered a can of the tangerine. My first can came last Tuesday. I almost just tackled the UPS driver when he brought it. I took my first dose around 5 o'clock that evening. And when I tasted it, I knew I had on something. My wife got a little extra money. She said, you look like you really like this stuff. So I placed another order. So I ordered some plant minerals. I ordered the cow toddy. I ordered the Projo or Omega because you told me to get that big giant thing at Costco. But I said, you know what? I'm tired of the vitamins not working. I want to go with the best, and I believe I found the best. So I started on that. Then I got a phone call. One of my nephews gave me a couple $100. So I ordered the glucose gel the next day. Then I got the selenium. So now, my first full week on the tangerine was Tuesday. My first full week on the others is today. Now, my wife woke up screaming the other morning, and I said, "What's wrong?" I thought somebody was breaking in the house. Oh my God, I can't believe your legs. My legs don't even look like they used to.
Gabriel, we are up against a hard break. You stick with me. At the very top of the next hour, I'm going to bring you back right away because I need to hear the rest of this. The world needs to hear the rest of it. Thank you so much for your trust in your call today. You stick with me, and we're going to take it to the rooftops. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Peter Glidden. Check out the live video stream, the drgliddenshow.tv. Don't even think about touching that dial.
Next to water and food, you need a safe, storable fuel supply for your preparedness needs. Spare fuel is the answer. Spare fuel can be used in any gas-powered vehicle or generator. Spare fuel is perfect for any unforeseen out-of-gas emergencies. Unlike gasoline, spare fuel is safe to store with your other supplies, and it can be stored for many years. Go to Get Spare.
Boom! How about that? Now, just so the newcomers know, check. Hold on here. Let me see if we have audio. We do have audio. Good. So, just so the newcomers know, I don't screen calls. I'm the only person here on my end. I don't know anything about the caller except their name. I have no idea what people are going to tell me. So I love it when people call in with testimonials, especially if they have, a knack for oratory. So it's pretty awesome. And this is how we roll here, right? The only reason that we succeed at what we do in such a hostile political climate, which is stacked against us in so many ways, most of which are unconscious, the only reason that we succeed is because we get results. And this is why you're foolish, honestly, if you're not a longevity distributor, because everybody needs your help. Everybody will thank you profusely once they get on board with the correct program, and we will pay you to do that. So what's up with that? I mean, jump on the wagon. Two ways you can do that. Go to my website. Click on the Join Team Glidden button. Dial 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696, and someone from my organization will show you the ropes, tell you what to do. You can join us as a customer or as a member. And if you were directed to this radio program or this website by an existing longevity representative and you want more information, get with them. If you're listening to this on a terrestrial radio station, call the number that they advertise during the commercial breaks because we are a worldwide independent distributor network. So we preserve the integrity of the lineage. So you get with whomever it was that told you about this. If you like what I'm talking about, you get with them. If you found us all by yourself, you get with us, and that's how we do it. So I'm going to jump into the chat room again and see if I can't punch out a couple more questions before we're back live with Gabriel. There you go. I'm not even going to try to remember my old German. Okay, here we go. Carol, the here's the deal. Carol has a friend just got BTT 2.0, concerned that there's only 1 milligram of iron. Well, that's because they don't know anything about how much iron is necessary. And the RDAs are stupid and ridiculous. So what they need to be educated in is to the depth and the breadth of the research on medical nutrition that Dr. Wallach has done. He's rewritten the books on medical nutrition. And that's why everything about longevity is different, because everything that your doctor knows about medical nutrition is wrong. And there's no politically correct way to say that. 2 plus 2 does not equal 5, right? If someone tells you that it does, well, guess what? They are wrong. Okay, Loretta says, toenail and thumbnail fungus, skin breakouts, no diagnosis, has been happening for 2 years. A 130. So, topically, we do colloidal silver to the nails. Colloidal silver in a spray, topically to the nails 2, 3, 4 times a day, colloidal silver. Internally, we do the healthy blood sugar pack. 1 healthy blood sugar pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 healthy blood sugar pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight tonight per month. You want to listen to yesterday's radio program. In the first hour, I interviewed a colleague from Arizona, and he talked about a light, an ultraviolet light that you can get to put in your shoes that kills virus and bacteria and fungus, because, you know, we need to knock down on the inoculation factor while we're helping to support and promote the body's health from the inside out. So getting one of those ultraviolet light units and sticking them in your shoes is a good idea to help kill the fungus that might still be living in there, right? So that's how we do it. Colloidal silver topically is the secret sauce. Amos, hey doc, my sister just received her Healthy Body Start Pack. She's been taking an iron supplement and wants to know if there's enough iron in the pack. Does she still need additional iron? She probably doesn't need additional iron. I would have her just do the Healthy Start Pack for a couple of months and then have the iron levels checked again, or just see how she feels. I think that it's going to be sufficient to the cause. If she's worried about it, tell her to get an iron skillet and, you know, start cooking food in the iron skillet with butter or lard on low heat. No oil, remember, no oil, but you can cook in a skillet with butter or lard, and if you cook in an iron skillet, you'll get all the iron that your body needs. Josh in San Mateo, what's up, Josh? John at B Longevity, vegans abound, and there is just no talking to them. All right, Josh, John, you've been prodding me to do a vegan webinar for a long time. So I'm going to get it done, okay? Dan says, hi, Doc, what's all this about metaphysics? Every Thursday, I call it Metaphysical Thursday, where we talk about metaphysics, and metaphysics is that stuff which conventional science cannot measure, right? Like the existence of the spirit, your spiritual force, your soul, your vital force, whatever you want to call it, inside the human body. So on Metaphysical Thursdays, we'll talk about things that are in that box, right? It's one of my favorite days of the week, quite frankly. There you go. Dave has a newbie. What to order? Congestive heart failure, numbness and neuropathy in the feet, aches and pains, erectile dysfunction. So erectile dysfunction, we believe, is a cholesterol deficiency. So they have to eat a diet that's high in cholesterol. Look to see if he's taking a cholesterol-lowering statin drug. It's probably not a good idea. Congestive heart failure. So to support and promote healthy heart, the recommendation is 1 healthy brain and heart pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month. We are live.
Health. Look out, Big Pharma. Someone is looking for the knockout punch. Here's Dr. Glidden.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We finally did it. We reached my goal. There are 103 people in the chat room and 97 people watching on YouTube, which means we have 200 viewers, which was my goal for this week, 200 viewers. We've never had 200 viewers before, ever. So this is a landmark for us. This is a landmark day. I appreciate your support very, very much. For those of you who are new to us, we don't screen calls. This is a low-budget operation. I can see the callers up on my call list. I know where they're calling from. And then, there's a little kind of informational box underneath their name. It might say pain in the hips or thyroid issues or whatever. So we don't screen the calls. I have no idea what people are going to say. We don't solicit testimonials. We don't solicit anything. We just answer the phone and talk to people about, their health issues. That's how we roll here. Very happy to be talking to Gabriel from Orlando, a former pastor, maybe soon again to be an employed pastor again, if his health continues to improve in the manner in which it is. So I'm going to pull him back up, and he can continue testifying about his remarkable experience with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Pastor Gabriel, you are back.
Not if, when my health gets up.
Well, all right. So we're already halfway there. So your wife screams in the middle of wakes up in the morning because your legs no longer look like elephants.
No, they look like two normal people's legs at 400 pounds. By the way, instead of 454, I'm 20 pounds lighter today. I'm not out of control. I can't believe it. I'm not even on the A staff.
I get it.
I can't believe I'm not sitting around thinking about food all day. I am totally satisfied in my brain, in my stomach.
That's crazy.
Also, that finger I told you about, I'm turning my steering wheel with it. I'm opening up the jars now. My back, the pain that was in my back, hips, and legs. I got up this morning, and I was going out the garage door. She said, "Where you going?" I said, "I just want to walk down the driveway." Took a walk down the block for the first time, and I don't know when. I can't go to the grocery store. I haven't walked in a grocery store, haven't walked in a mall. I get out of my car, and wherever we go, they drop me off at the door, and I pray that I can get inside before I fall out. Right. But today, I strolled down the middle of my street.
I wish I had a picture of that.
When I, no pain, if I still can't bend it all the way, none of that excruciating pain in my shoulder. And so I'm just ecstatic. I am 90 for life. I'm going to be a preacher of 90 for life. I want all of your listeners to know that you are the real deal, Holyfield. Dr. Wallach is the man, and I am going to preach. Dr. Wallach, Dr. Glidden, is not a day gone by that I have not sung your name. Matter of fact, what you don't know, I have the nerve to have a local radio show here on the Gospel Channel, which is called Living Healthy with Pastor G. That's my radio name. Dan, I talked about Dan this past week. I had my radio listeners pray for him because since I can't be under him, I want his sales to go off the roof. So I asked my entire listening audience, maybe not big as yours, but I've got about 30,000 listeners here in the Orlando area, plus it's on the internet also. You are going to be hearing about 90 for life. Now, what I did Tuesday, because I felt so good, what you don't know is I was a #1 distributor in another company before. I distributed for 2 other companies. I told my wife, I don't need the other stuff. You don't have to order none of that for me. Right here. So I stopped in midstream on my radio show, and I said, look, I don't know what I can say, how I can say, but this is what I'm saying. I'm starting a Pastor G 30-day challenge. Listen, all I can tell you is I eliminated 10 foods from my diet, and I feel like a new man. I ran up the radio steps today. I'm running around house. Yeah, I had ED, But I told my wife, you better thank God for the rest.
Praise Jesus.
I'm coming back. Big Daddy Pastor G is on his way.
Big Daddy G is on the way back. Look, I got to tell you something, man, and all this in less than 14 days, right?
Yes, I started the product last Tuesday.
I know, it's remarkable. I mean, and you know, the thing about this is, right, and again, I want to stress a number of things here, right? Number one, the person who held your hand and helped you through this is not even in your upline. He's not even in your upline.
But he guided me through.
But he guided you through it because that's how we roll. That's what we do. You know, this is
like...
don't
even... I asked him, I said, do you know about it? Yeah. I said, do you ever take it? No. I said, do you know anything about it? No.
I got to tell you, this is one of the most rewarding things about longevity is the quality of the people that are attracted to longevity. Now, you know, look, I got to tell you something, man. As longevity gets bigger and more successful, you know, the longevity is like the black hole of network marketing companies, and they'll subsume 3 or 4 or 5 different companies a year. And so a couple of years from now, there's going to be a lot of things that longevity business owners can, you know, be pitching to people in the world. But the core of longevity always has been and always will be the health message. And the people in longevity that are on that train, they're sitting in that, you know, that cabin on the cruise line, they're sitting in the health cabin of longevity. Those are the people to hang out with, because those are the people that are really going to move and shake this along. And the people that are in this for the health message spontaneously become wealthy. They spontaneously become wealthy just by helping other people. And look, you got someone who's not even in your upline who went out of his way to help you, and those are the people that I want to hang out with. That's the kind of people I want to affiliate with. Those are the kind of people that I want to break bread with, and those are exactly the kind of people that you're going to find here. Those are exactly the kind of people that you're going to find who are insiders on my website. Those are exactly the kind of people who tune into this radio station. And you know, but batten down the hatches, man, because the best is yet to come. And this is the way that it works. This is not magic. This is not myth. This is not mayhem. This is science-based, clinically verified biochemistry at work. It's biochemistry at work. You cannot give a plant Miracle-Gro and have nothing happen to it. It's going to get bigger. It's going to change in a positive direction. Well, exactly the same thing happens with longevity. And if you experience this much positive change in 2 weeks, I got to tell you, the future, Pastor, looks very.
I got 2 IMDs under me already.
Indeed, right? I mean, you know, this is going to be a worldwide phenomenon before long. And as God is my witness, the only thing that's necessary here, the only thing, is to tell the truth and point. There's no obfuscation. There's no, you know, we don't blow things out of proportion. We don't make false promises. We don't conflate or inflate anything. All we say is, look, how are you feeling? Are you happy with the state of your health? Because if you are not, I know a doctor who says you don't have to suffer from that. If I lend you this CD, if I lend you this DVD, if I point you to this radio station, if I give you this webinar, will you watch it? That's all you have to do to be successful. I'm very excited for you, Pastor Gabriel. Very, very excited. And look, I'd love to be on your radio show. I'd love to be on your radio show. You give my office a call, set it up with my office manager. That number, 855-34...
Can I say 2 more things?
Yeah.
About Darren. When I told Darren, I said, Darren, I pray one day that I'm able to bless you in a way that's going to just knock your socks off. And you know what he said?
What?
Say, you get better and get on your feet, and that is my pay.
There you go.
Man, that just blew me away.
Yeah.
So what I want from you, if you can, real quick, because I have the faith now, I'm going to find the money to take, you know how much I weigh, 400 pounds. Tell me, if I had all the money I needed with what I shared with you, or also with the prostatitis, what do I need to take?
Okay, so of course you need to eliminate the 10 bad foods, number 1. Number 2, I would go to gcnlive.com and go into the area. That's the internet station that carries my radio show. And you can even go to drglidden.com and you can do a search for my old episodes.
and you want to type in lymphatic breathing, because there's a breathing technique that you would benefit from if you did it for 10 minutes twice a day. It's a real easy thing to learn. And I did a radio program about it. There was a doctor I had on my show. He taught everyone how to do it. Lymphatic breathing in the radio archives of my show. So do the lymphatic breathing for 10 minutes twice a day. That's going to be a big positive factor for you moving forward. Number 3, for nutritional supplements, the easiest thing to do, the best thing for you to do would be 4 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. Right? Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid.
Okay.
4 of those a month. It's 1 per 100 pounds per month. 4 bottles of plant-derived minerals.
Okay.
And 4 bottles of selenium. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's all you need. No kidding. I know, right?
Thank you, Doc. You're a lifesaver. I'm going to shake your hand one day. I really am.
Look forward to it, Gabriel. Look forward to meeting you in person and to forwarding Dr. Wallach's message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition, grassroots movement, folks, because your neighbors, your church members, your friends, family, community members are suffering needlessly. No more secret agents. It's time to step up to the plate. All you need to do, look, is this some miracle cure for all human ills? No. Is this old-fashioned medical nutrition? No. You know what it is? Rational, science-based, clinically verified, new-fashioned medical nutrition for the masses. Boilerplate foundation medical nutrition for the masses, developed by the physician who wrote the book on medical nutrition. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Stick around. Na 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 na. That's what I'm talking about. Boy, I love testimonials like that. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That man's going to change the world. What about you? Next question. Okay, so if you're having connection problems, it's on your end. You want to call your internet provider and see what speed your internet is, right? Your incoming and outgoing. You want to be paying attention here to what your incoming internet speed is, because if my show is buffering, you know, it's staticky, or the audio comes and goes, the video comes and goes, it's because your internet is low, so you need a shot in the arm with your internet. Check it out. Okay? Jim has a basic question for the Longevity IMDs. I assume that orders made manually are done through the back office. Yeah, there's 2 ways to place an order with Longevity. You can go into your Longevity website, which you get automatically as a distributor, place an order, or you can call the company up, give them your ID number, and place the order. Much easier to do it on the website. Hey, Blake Chin wants to know, how many people feel better than they did a year ago? Yeah, I do. A lot of people do. I hate that phone. I hate that phone. Harvey in Sacramento wants to know, hey, Doc, did I ever get that pharmaceutical salesman back on for an interview about how the system really works? We're working on it. Appreciate the heads up on that. Appreciate the heads up on that. Silverback D, Dr. G, I'm 33, 6'2", 165. Well, I don't want to meet you in a dark alley. When I was in the United States Navy, I was 185. I looked worse than Santa Claus, so finally, with nothing working, I ate little Davy snacks and drank almost nothing but soda. After approximately 2 weeks, I went to 140, and I couldn't even eat any food. The corrupt nutritionist at the VA had me slowly eat with Ensure protein steaks. I have out-of-control bowel movements, so when I get close to 170, do you think with longevity I could move past this? Yeah, absolutely. Now, the most common cause of this, you know, eating sufficient amounts but not gaining weight, is a parasitic infection. That's the most common cause of that. So what you may want to do for 4 weeks is take 3 kilobiotic 3 times a day for 4 weeks, in addition to, you know, the rest of the nutrients. You can also go to directlabs.com, and order a parasite test from doctor's data, a stool parasite test from doctor's data. Your insurance won't pay for it. I don't know how much it is. It's a couple of $100. So you can just maintain the discipline, eliminate the 10 bad foods, build your longevity business, take the supplements sufficient to the cause, see what happens, and then, you know, if you hit a plateau, then we can do the testing at a future date. That might be a more prudent way to do it. Vetoslava wants to know, can EFAs make a person constipated? No. Not sure what makes my husband constipated. Glucogel, EFAs, osteo, or selenium. It's probably the glucogel. That's the first thing that I would remove when I'm trying to sort that out. We're live. Boy, we started in hell and then we went right to heaven, huh? How about that? All this ALS nonsense, and then Pastor Gabriel comes and lights up the house. You gotta love it, man. I just love this business. Hey, Massachusetts is back. Quadina, who called yesterday, I think has a follow-up question. Hey, Quadina, thanks for calling back. You are live.
Thank you so much, Dr. Glidden. It's actually a follow-up, but now I want to take care of me a little bit.
Smart man.
My left hip is a little bit getting out of hand now. I'm 44. I think I should give you a rundown of my issue. That way you know how to help me best. I was diagnosed with the osteo left hip arthritis in 2004, so it's been a while now. And I've always believed that I have to deal with the pain till I'm no more ready, and then they'll change it for me with the titanium or whatever they call it. Until 3 months ago, I ran into Dr. Wallach on Benny Hinn's show, and then I ordered a CD and the book, and they said the rest is history. But yesterday I spoke to you about my sister's depression. Budget-wise, so I used money to buy her stuff for her. But I was having a little bit of issue, edema, swelling in the foot, and you have advice in terms of protein intake and the whole thing. So I tried to experiment by withdrawing totally, and then step by step see which one is messing with me. So I did it, and it looks like the glucogel capsule and the tangerine. But just all of a sudden, between yesterday and today, I just can't move. The pain is so severe. I want to get some Tylenol extra strength. Now I began reading the side effects. I got scared again. I said, man, these are all on the paper, and then we still have to take it.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the Tylenol. I wouldn't take Tylenol. I'd never take Tylenol under any circumstance would I take Tylenol. I'd take Advil in this case. I'd do Advil instead.
Advil rather, yeah. So I want to know how to take care of my pain, and then while I do my order for the digestion pack with something to get my thing going totally. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, how much do you weigh?
I'm about, let's say 190, let's say 200.
200? Okay. So now, do you have an experience in the past, Quadina, that you had a problem eating shellfish? You ever have an allergy to, you know, shrimp or lobster or clams?
I ate all those things. I never knew. The gluten was even news to me. Oatmeal was my best food, breakfast.
Yeah.
About 10 to 15.
All right. Well, when you ate shrimp before, would you have an allergic reaction to it?
Not that I know of. No, I ate shrimp, okay, and nothing comes up.
And you ate lobster, okay, also?
Yeah, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but
yeah, no, you'd know for sure. You would know. All right, and you're taking the glucogel capsules or the glucogel liquid?
I did the liquid one time, but I was mixing it, and then I got the capsule. That's all I've been taking for the last 2 months since I started.
Okay.
The capsules.
All right, and what was it that got aggravated and that you started messing around with the supplements? You got swelling in your legs. Is that the deal?
In my legs, yeah. And then when I pulled off, it all went away when I stopped.
You
And I
stopped
just
all
did
the
capsule.
supplements and the swelling in the legs went away.
It went away, yeah.
And then you
And
added
then
them
I
back
started
one at a time, and you think it's
one
the
at a
Beyond
time.
Tangy or the glucogel that's doing it.
Yeah, I realized it's there. I wasn't sure about the Beyond Tangy, but because you had mentioned it's very heavily loaded with different stuff,
Yeah.
probably there's something in there. So that was coming a little bit, and I stopped. Then I did the capsules, and then the swelling started, and I said, okay, so it's probably the capsules.
All right, that's interesting. Okay, so here's what I would like you to do. I want you to switch to the liquid glucogel, okay?
Right.
And at your weight, with your history, in a perfect world, you'd do 4 bottles of the liquid glucogel plus a month. 4 bottles of the liquid glucogel plus a month. It's 1 ounce 4 times a day.
1 ounce 4 times, okay.
All right, now the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you're going to need 2 canisters a month. It's going to be 1 scoop 4 times a day.
You mentioned an alternative to that the other day.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine that's causing this problem. I think it was the way that you were taking it that's causing the problem.
Okay.
So here's what I'd like you to do as a little experiment for 3 or 4 days to see, okay?
All right.
All right, so I want you, please, for 3 days in a row, to do 1 scoop, 1 level scoop of Beyond Tangy Tangerine in 12 ounces of water,
12 ounces.
just 1 time on day 1.
Okay.
And I want you to take 2 hours to drink it down.
Slowly. Okay.
All right? Now, look to see what happens to the swelling in the legs. If nothing happens, right, then on day 2, I want you to do 1 level scoop in 12 ounces of water twice a day. Once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And I want you to keep doing that until you're at 1 scoop in 12 ounces of water 4 times a day. And each time you make that solution, you got to take 2 hours to drink it down. Don't pound it down. We're up against a commercial break. You stick with me. I'll figure the rest of this out when we come back.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Blockit Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower...
I see babies crying. I watch them grow. Their parents don't know what they don't know. And I think to myself, what a messed up world. I know. I should have been a singer. Reg says, hey Doc, my father's hand shakes. This has just started happening, I think within the last year. Do I know what specifically causes this to happen? Often it's too much coffee. Look to see if it happens after he drinks a cup of coffee. And it'll be within an hour of drinking the coffee that it gets noticeable. If it's unrelated to coffee consumption, then he needs essential fatty acid. He needs the 90 essential nutrients, extra essential fatty acids, and he should think 10 times before taking a cholesterol-lowering statin drug, okay? Think 10 times before taking a cholesterol-lowering statin drug. We're going to go back to Vetoslava's question. Can the EFA make a person constipated? No, really. The only thing on that list that could do that would be the glucogel. Here's the best thing to do when constipation shows up. Eat 1 apple a day, 1 apple a day, and make sure you're drinking 32 ounces of water a day. 32 ounces of water a day, which can include your Beyond Tangy Tangerine solution, okay? 32 ounces of water a day. The main causes of constipation are not enough fiber, not enough water. Of course, we don't like wheat, barley, rye, or oat fiber, so the fiber that's in an apple is perfect for digestion and elimination. So eat 1 apple a day. That's right, an apple a day. Drink 32 ounces of water. That's the first thing that I would do to see, okay? And anybody that gets constipated when they're taking a longevity nutritional supplement needs to be gluten-free, because that's a diagnostic indication that their intestinal tract is messed up. Okay? Okay. Struvite kidney stones. So what would I recommend and what's the cause? Well, whether it's an oxalate or a struvite, the recommendation or the mechanism is the same. It's chronic nutrient deficiencies, right? In the case of struvite stone formation, we do more liver support. But we do liver support anyway, so, you know, 1 Dr. Glidden pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, eliminate the 10 bad foods, should take care of it. And I just heard about something at the naturopathic conference which dissolves them. I'm going to have to check my notes because I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay? Okay. Nancy G says, since longevity's come along, it makes it difficult living in today's world. I know, it makes you want to scream. Couldn't agree more. Most people tell Blake Chin, that stuff will never work, can't work, won't work. After it does work, because it does, a whole new world opens up. It does. It's a whole new world. Silverback wants me to know she's supposed to lower her insurance to catastrophic, but she said, what about an annual exam? Yeah, pap smear is a good idea. But if she goes in for a pap smear, they're going to try to convince her to have a mammogram. I'm writing a book right now that's going to tell you what tests to order every year, so you're just going to have to wait until I come out with that. But in the meantime, I'm okay with a pap smear once a year, no problem. Patsy in Belgium fell off the 10 bad food wagon, and now she's suffering. I didn't make that up about what happened to me in France. I was not exaggerating. That was bad. Welcome to the club. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, happily so. Check out the live video stream, thedrgliddenshow.tv. We have 88 people checking it out on YouTube. And how many people now in the chat room? 93. Gotta love it. I love technology. This is, in fact, how we are going to change the world. We're talking to Quadina from Massachusetts. Quadina, you still with me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Doc.
Okay, so so this is what you do, right? So I don't think it's the tangy tangerine. I think you're taking it too quickly and your body's having trouble metabolizing it because your guts are in trouble because, you know, for 20, 30, 40 years you were eating all the wrong food unwittingly. So I think if you just deliver the Beyond Tangy to your body in a more dilute, slower fashion, that you'll get on the other side of this. Now, let's say you get to 3 glasses a day and your legs start to swell again, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then you would just back off and do 2 glasses a day. You follow that logic?
Right.
All right, so you want to find the dose that doesn't create an aggravation, and you want to stick with that for 2 or 3 weeks. And then you want to press the envelope and take a little bit more, and you'll be able to tolerate it. And then press the envelope, and then you'll be able to tolerate. Eventually, you'll be able to take the full 4-scoop dose. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6 months for you to get there, but you'll be able to get there. And I think if you just kind of go into this more slowly, that you'll get a better bang from that. The same thing, by the way, with everything else. So if I were you, once you get the liquid glucogel, I would just add, you know, 1 ounce of the liquid glucogel to each glass of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Take 2 hours to drink it, And, you know, because you're going to need 4 ounces of the liquid glucogel, you're doing ostensibly 4 glasses of Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So that's how I would do that. But the secret here is whenever you get a negative reaction, you dilute the doses and you take it much more slowly. And also don't neglect the obvious. Oftentimes, with swelling, water retention anywhere in the body, that is a deficiency of protein in the blood. And protein deficiencies are caused by not eating enough protein or not being able to digest the protein that you are eating. So to facilitate digestion, it may be prudent for you for the next 4 to 8 weeks to take one ultimate enzyme at the beginning of every meal and make sure that at least 50% of the food that's on your plate is protein with every meal. Now, you can have more than 50% protein, but there has to be at least 50% protein every time you eat. Take one ultimate enzyme at the very beginning of every meal. And I think if your body gets into that rhythm, I think that, you know, things will be better for you. And it might take, like, you know, a week or 2 for your body to kind of get into that groove, so, you know, you don't get aggravations like this. Because what it's like pouring lemon juice on a cut. It's going to just sting it. And so that's what's happening, I think.
How about the osteo effects?
Yes. Well, all right. So beyond osteo effects, because of your history, in a perfect world, you'd be doing 3 or 4 ounces of that a day.
All right.
3 or 4 ounces. 4 would be best. But again, now the osteo FX, I like it best in the liquid form, not in the powdered form.
That's what I've been doing, the liquid.
Yeah. Now the osteo FX is metabolized better if you mix it with orange juice or some type of citrus fruit.
Okay, I think you're wrong.
Yeah, orange juice. It tastes just like a creamsicle, by the way, if you do that.
Right.
Now, you may be able to drink 1 ounce of the liquid calcium mixed with 1 ounce of orange juice. You may be able just to shoot that down, you know, like a shot of tequila or a shot of whiskey, and with no problem. So you want to try that. But if that does present a problem, and the problem that would present would be diarrhea.
Okay.
If you're good, nothing happens, then do 1 ounce 4 times a day with the last dose immediately before bed. I mean, immediately before bed. You know, like shoot the dose down, brush your teeth, get into bed. Okay? Now, if it does produce, you know, diarrhea, then you're also going to need to dilute that and drink it more slowly. Now, and if that happens, you can also mix that in with the other stuff. You can just have this big cocktail of Beyond Tangy, Glucogel liquid, and Osteo FX liquid. No problem.
Okay.
And by the way, whatever else you want to put into that to make it taste good, I got no problem with.
All right. That makes sense.
As long as it's not vodka before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you just need to mess around with the dosage schedule. Find something that your body tolerates. You know what you should be taking, right? You know what the goal is, right? 4 ounces of calcium a day, 4 scoops of Beyond Tangy Tangerine a day, 4 ounces of the liquid glucogel a day. So that's the target that you want to be striving for, but you might need to wean on up to that target, right?
Actually, yeah.
Now, in the meantime, I would go to the health food store, or have somebody go to the health food store and get a homeopathic medicine. Now, your pain, I need you to tell me about the pain that you're feeling. It's in your joints, or is it in your muscles that you feel it?
This is my joint, because I have bone to bone.
Okay, now when you're sitting still,
yeah,
is it painful or not painful?
So it's painful because when I do driving for a job. Now I have to stop the driving today because I couldn't sit anymore. I have to come home and lay down.
Okay, so when you start to walk and move around, does that make the pain worse, or does it make it better, or what does it do to the pain when you start to move around?
When I start to move, it's tough to take the first move, and then when I use a stick now, then when I start getting the groove, it gets better, but I'm still in pain.
Okay.
While I'm doing that.
All right, and when the weather changes, does it aggravate your pain? Can you Can you feel a rainstorm before it gets here because your joints start to ache more or not?
More of the cold
Cold.
than the rain. Yeah, when it's getting colder, yeah.
Okay, and if you take a hot shower or a hot bath, does that make the joint pain worse or does it make it better?
Makes it better.
Okay, so you're going to have to write this down because it's a weird Latin name, okay? But
Okay.
in the health food store or at Whole Foods, in the vitamin section, there's going to be a plastic shelf with about 50 little tubes of homeopathic medicines in them, and if you're watching on the live video stream, I'm going to hold one up. That's what it looks like. It's in a little blue tube. Looks just like that. It's in a little blue tube about the size of your index finger, your pinky finger.
Yeah.
So you want to find the tube that says, first I'll say it and then I'll spell it. It says Rus toxicodendron on it, and you spell that R like Roger, H like Harry, U, S like Sam. R-H-U-S. Second word.
Okay, right.
T like Thomas, O, X, I, C like Charlie, O, D like David, E, N like Nancy, D like David, R like Roger, O, N like Nancy. Toxicodendron. Rus toxicodendron. If you find it in the 30C strength, 30C like Charlie, take 2 pellets 4 times a day for 4 days. If you find it in the 200C or the 200CK strength, take 2 pellets twice a day for 4 days and see whether or not it produces a noticeable and measurable positive change. If it does, you call me back on day 5 and I'll tell you what to do next. All right?
Appreciate that. Can
Right.
you quickly give me my sister's dosage? She weighs 132 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's one bottle of Tangy Tangerine is 1 level scoop twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
1 bottle of the calcium is 1 ounce a day.
Okay.
And any of the capsules, you divide the number of days in the month into the number of capsules in the bottle and take that many capsules a day.
Okay.
So I can't remember how many bottles I told you to give her yesterday, but that's how you do the math. It's really pretty easy. And by the way, I have a whole webinar on my website that explains how to do that. Okay? So become an insider, check it out, and forward,
Yeah, I already am.
forward the
Go back and read.
cause. Hey, you're the greatest, man. I appreciate the support. I really do. We're rolling out an affiliate program very shortly, so stay tuned. Guadina, I have to move on. The phones are jacked today. I appreciate you very much. Keep up the good work in my old stomping ground, Massachusetts. Minnesota is up next. Hey, Valerie, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi. I'm so thankful I got through.
Yeah, here I am. What's going on?
All right. I'm looking for advice for my daughter to help regenerate her body.
How old is she?
She is 22, and at the age of 4, her thyroid stopped working. And then at the age of 7, she was diagnosed with diabetes type 1.
Yikes.
And then at the age of 8, she started having seizures, which has turned into severe epilepsy. And so that explains everything.
Yeah. Do you know, have you been listening to this show, or have you heard the testimonial that Dave and his family up in Michigan have? Well, they have a daughter. She's in her early 20s. She was having, I think, 20 seizures a day. A day, and after a couple of months on longevity, they're completely gone. I mean, she doesn't have any more.
Good.
I mean, she's ecstatic, right? So,
Great.
So
we also did a surgery, which we should not have done, but too late now.
For what?
Removed her right temporal lobe.
Oh God.
Yeah.
They actually went in and removed half of her brain.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens. Okay,
Yeah.
So will your daughter be compliant with what I tell her to take?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so what's her current body weight?
124.
Okay, so here's what I would do every month, and I would do this as an experiment for 3 months to look to see a noticeable, measurable, positive change somewhere. It's got to be dramatic, and it's got to be positive somewhere in her body mind. And once we get traction somewhere, we dig in for the long haul, and we look to see slow and steady improvement over time, and that's kind of how we do it. So the recommendation for her would be every month, one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. So it's a long name. It's called the Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. One of those a month. One bottle of multi-EFAs per month. One bottle of multi-EFAs per month. 3 bottles of Ultimate Selenium per month. SELENIUM. 3 bottles of that a month. And 1 bottle of Cherry Mins. CHERI-MINS. 1 bottle of Cherry Mins a month. Now, that's what she needs for supplements. That's what I would do to support and promote a healthy central nervous system and endocrine system. In addition to that, of course, right, you, me, and her, and the man in the moon, and everybody in the world needs to stop eating the 10 bad foods. And she would also benefit from eating a diet that's high in cholesterol, because that's what her central nervous system is made from, and that's what needs support here mostly. You can get the list of the 10 bad foods for free on my website if you don't have it already. That's how we do it. And please, Valerie, call me back on a regular basis with an update, because I'm very interested in what happens here. We're back. Appreciate your support. If your question was not answered today, go to my website, become an insider. It's $20 a month. There's a 24/7 online forum where your question has probably already been answered. You can search for it. It's easy, breezy, lemon squeezy. I also have 200 hours of archived health webinars that you have immediate access to, where your question was probably already answered. By the way, you can use this information to build your longevity business, and we have tutorials in the Insider subscription for how to do that. So there's only so many questions I can answer right at commercial breaks. So if I wasn't able to get to yours, become an insider, and life is good. Okay? Benke did a spoof on Big Pharma. I'm going to look at that. I appreciate that very much. I love creativity.
Are you feeling tired?
Okay. Okay, Dave wants to know what to order. 66 years old, 6'4", 250. Congestive heart failure, numbness and neuropathy in feet. Don't know if I answered that question. Okay, so the recommendation would be at 250 pounds. 2 Dr. Glidden packs. 2 Dr. Glidden packs. 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules. And 2 bottles of De-Stress. 1 Ultimate Daily Cap and 2 bottles of De-Stress. 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Caps and 2 bottles of De-Stress. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Eat a diet high in cholesterol. And I bet you he's taken a statin drug, and that's what's causing the erectile dysfunction, because statin drugs drive cholesterol into the dirt, and all your sex hormones are made from cholesterol. Okay? Black Chin writes us a nice little story here. Gotta love it. It's really amazing what this can do, not only for your health, but for your wealth. By the way, here's a great enrollment for the business aspect of longevity. While I'm working, full-time with my job, I'm working part-time on my fortune. Would you like to hear my story? Or, if you're retired or working full-time with longevity, I'm working full-time on my fortune. Would you like to hear my story? Who's going to say no to that? Nobody. Kathy says, Doc, is it true that people who are underweight are communists? Yes, that's true. No, that's not what she said. I lost the feed here. Hold on. Who are underweight and elderly shouldn't be operated on? Yes. My 85-pound grandmother got hip replacement surgery and it didn't do well. You were surprised that the surgeon did it? Really? Really? Wake up and smell the coffee. Interesting comment from the chat room here. Kathy says, Doc, isn't it true that people who are underweight and elderly shouldn't be operated on? Yes, that's true. My 85-pound mother got hip replacement surgery and didn't do well at all. I was quite surprised that the surgeon would do it. I'm not, because remember, when you're king, you can screw up and there's no harm and no foul. So, you know, they do the hip replacement surgery because they can, and then when it fails, they wash their hands, walk it off, and, you know, the next day they're in the operating room doing it again. They don't care. There are no consequences. There's no harm and there's no foul when they screw up, which they do all of the time. Steve from Utah has been waiting patiently. Hey, Steve, thanks for the call. You are live. Come in, Utah. Steve. Steve.
I'm Utah. I'm Lee.
I know you're there. Come on in.
I'm Lee.
Lee. All right, my producer wrote it down wrong. Hello, Lee from Utah. Thanks for the call.
Hi. I have one of our adopted daughters. We got her at birth. She was a product of an alcoholic and drug addict mother.
Yeah.
She never held food down for 6 months. I got her leveled out a little bit there, and but she's been to the hospital many times over the years. To find anything, but finally they came up with something, and so they said, "Oh, you got to remove your gallbladder." Well, I've got her on longevity now, but recently, in this last month, she started having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what might be a possible suggestion for that.
More liquid calcium, and if she's not taking the liquid calcium, you want to switch from the powder to the liquid calcium. I would give her, you know, 1 bottle of the liquid calcium per 100 pounds per month, and then for 1 or 2 months, 1 extra bottle of the white liquid calcium per month. So I would increase her dose by 1 bottle of white liquid calcium a month. You want to spread those doses out over the day. Make sure she gets 1 of the liquid calcium doses immediately before bed. And also, if we suspect a gallbladder issue, then give 2 of the Ultimate Daily capsules 3 times a day. 2 of the Ultimate Daily capsules 3 times a day. That will go a long way towards helping the gallbladder to adjust its structure and function. Extra plant minerals is never a bad idea for anybody, especially if there's an extreme history of, you know, malnutrition because, you know, the mother was an addict, or when the first couple of years of their life they were just in a, you know, in a bad household, right? So whenever that type of a history is in play, it's never a bad idea to overdo it with the plant-derived minerals, right, or the cherry mints. It's the same product, just with a little cherry flavor added to give it a little more gusto. But that's what I would do. Now, if the anxiety persists after you've added the calcium, then it's probably not a physiological problem, but a mental problem. And kind of like a socialization problem right now. So if the liquid calcium does nothing for the anxiety, which I would be quite surprised, frankly, if it did nothing, then my advice to you would be to find a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, NLP. Find somebody in Utah who practices NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and take the child to them for a couple of sessions, because often NLP sessions, which are fun, easy, non-invasive. You know, it's just kind of like talk therapy. They can really help to reprogram the central nervous system so it doesn't have that knee-jerk anxiety reaction that it used to. And that's kind of a hard, you know, it's kind of like in one rut. You know, you're driving on the beach in heavy sand and you're in a rut, and it's hard to jump out of that rut to get somewhere else. Well, neuro-linguistic programming can really help to jump those tracks if it's necessary. Oftentimes, extra calcium is really the only thing that's needed, Steve. I appreciate your patience, appreciate your trust, I appreciate your stand for the health of others. And this is how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the company that you can keep. Health-conscious, open-minded, progressive, compassionate, caring people. Want to join that club? You're nuts if you don't. Visit the website, get with the person who showed you about this radio show, or call the number that your radio station is giving out to join Longevity Nation.